There are arguments to be made on both sides of the aisle in regard to where the New York Mets should go in center field in 2025. We're going to give you both sides of the argument next on Metcast. What's going on, Met fans? Welcome back to another Metcast episode. As always, I am Ryan. If you're enjoying this content, all I ask is that you smash that like button, hit that subscribe, turn those notifications on so you never miss an upload, and you know when Dan and I go live, whether it's just us or with our guests, with whatever New York Mets news is happening. But over on SNY, they're breaking it down today, whether or not the New York Mets can go out there and get a piece for center field, because let's be honest, that is the puzzle for this team this offseason. Where they decide to go in center field will set the stage, whether or not they're going to go out there and get a big bat to complement that, or they're going to go out and get pitching, or, God forbid, David Stearns stands still and doubles down on what happened in 2024. Let's get into it.
I think they're going to handle center field this offseason.
I think it's going to be short term. Obviously, you've seen
right off the bat, he says it's going to be short term. I feel like this is every single year with this team. Harrison Bader a couple years ago. You had Tyrone Taylor last year. Jose Siri short term. Cedric Mullins short term. When are the New York Mets going to finally address this? Remember, the last time they addressed it was probably with Carlos Beltran. You want to throw Juan Lagares in there, but the New York Mets need a franchise-changing center fielder. And I'm going to get into someone else's comments shortly as to where the New York Mets could potentially go.
Plus defense in center being a strong goal for David Stearns since he's been here, whether it's Harrison Bader, Tyrone Taylor. The idea with Cedric Mullins is going to be a plus out there. It didn't quite work out that way. So I think you're going to see whether it's Bader himself or...
Oh, we're going to do this all over again? Listen, I was for Bader at the deadline, but that was it because we knew it was a one-year contract. Harrison Bader had a great second half with the Phillies, played very, very well for them. But let's be honest, he lost his job with the New York Mets while he was here. It's not like he was great here. Then he left, went to Minnesota, was great there. Then he left and went to Philly. He was great. He lost his job. I mean, we chose Tyrone Taylor and Jose Siri when anybody could add Harrison Bader this offseason. We doubled down and we took Jose Siri. Yes, the guy who hit 188 for the Rays in 2024. We chose him over Harrison Bader, who's another year older. Now, I'm not saying, listen, if he was the fourth outfielder, I would absolutely jump all over it. But we already know the Mets are penciling in Tyrone Taylor to be on this roster. David Stearns loves him, the defense, the spark. I get it. But if you're going to have him on this team, you need a strong bat in center field, because let's look back at what Tyrone Taylor did for us last year at the plate. Absolutely nothing. At one point, he's hitting under 200 or right around 200, an absolute zero. And that's what killed this team down the stretch. Something we address on this channel. I know you guys are here with us all the time, but Francisco Lindor, because he's hitting in the leadoff hole, and you have guys like Tyrone Taylor and Luis Angel Acuna and Ronnie Mauricio, guys who are absolute zeros at the plate. When the order came back around, Francisco Lindor constantly got up with no one on base. We need to cut the crap with the light hitting outfielders. And I know David Stearns preaches run prevention, run prevention, run prevention. But sometimes a great defense is a good offense. And I'm not saying you have to have an all-world offensive guy, but Harrison Bader lost his job. Jose Siri DFA'd. Tyrone Taylor literally is a zero at the plate, and we've seen it for how many years now. He was the first move David Stearns made when he came to the New York Mets. I've seen enough of him starting in this outfield.
Or someone like that, because they have Carson Bench, the prospect who they think is coming maybe late next year, maybe the year after that.
Now we got to address that. I like Carson Bench. We keep hearing how the New York Mets have him as their number one prospect and future center fielder of this organization, which gives us a little bit of an insight, something we touched on in a previous video, as to where the New York Mets may be leaning this offseason. If Carson Bench is untouchable and supposedly Jonah Tung is amongst them with Nolan McLean, the odds of the Mets making a big move like a Peralta or a Skubal are very slim. I give it a 10% chance. They'd probably more likely go the free agency route and probably go with the Dylan Cease, a guy who had almost a 5 ERA. And when you look at a team like the Dodgers, where they're at in the World Series with Toronto, you need pitching. I mean, the Dodgers are in there every single year. They go out and acquire the best pitcher, whether it's Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, Sasaki. They're always getting the best guys available out there. And we always get the B team guys. So it's like David Stearns has to put his money where his mouth is. Not Steve Cohen, but I'm meaning that is he's got to hit on these contracts. The New York Mets cannot afford to have another Sean Manaea display in 2025. Dylan Cease is that kind of guy. You want to tell me if Fernando Valdez, who I'm not totally fond of because of what happened with his teammates, but he's got a ton of postseason experience, but even he doesn't really excite me. A guy like Michael King, yeah, he could potentially excite me, but I don't know if I trust David Stearns to make that kind of move. And again, Andy Martino says late next year to early the year after that. What I'm hearing is the Mets may even give him a competition or a chance to make the opening day roster. That's how high they are on him. Or dare I say, be on this team sometime in early May. So Andy and I are hearing two different things there, but, you know, he's the guy working at SNY and I'm not.
If there is a year after that, that's another topic. But they want to keep room for bench to emerge, basically, so they're going to go short term, I think.
Look, I think that's the most obvious
Annoying.
answer. And by the way, there's not exactly a lot of great candidates out there. Right. So if you were trying to stay within.
By the way, something I wanted to address. I saw Joe DeMaio put it out there over on X talking about revisiting Chicago with that trade for the center fielder. I am good. I don't want Roberts Jr. He stinks. He's a poor man's Jose Siri, a guy who hits around 200. Yeah, he'll get hot for a week or two like everybody else. Is a good defender, but I'm good with that. Get me a center fielder that's going to hit 240 on this team. Enough with the 200 hitters. You see how many 200 hitters do the Dodgers have or Toronto have? I mean, they got to finally, if you're going to bring back Pete Alonso, they got to get him legitimate help in this lineup.
In the organization, then you need a stopgap. And as you said, we heard from David right after the season to say that run prevention is more important than run production right now. And, you know, you can build around a guy like Soto and Lindor, and we will see what happens with Pete. But the run production part of it is something that they can fill in. They need run prevention. And that, to your point, with these guys in the minor leagues, and especially Carson Bench, this is a guy that they want to play center field in the future. So I can't imagine going out and signing anybody for a long term to fill that gap.
Look, I get where they're coming from with run prevention. We've been talking about it and beating the dead horse with a stick. I also think run prevention could be in the mean of starting pitching, a better bullpen, not having a disastrous bullpen. How about this? Stop with the musical chairs when it comes to this infield. Don't put McNeil in center. Don't put Brett Beatty in left or at second and at third. And then Miento's playing third and a little bit of first. Leave Brett Beatty at third base. Let him progress there defensively. Or if you plan on bringing in a big ticket like an Alex Bregman, leave him at second base. Leave McNeil at one position, unless you're going to trade him number one or have him be the super utility guy. We talk about run prevention. The New York Mets are playing Jeff McNeil, who is a terrible outfielder, subpar. Yeah, he could be adequate, but we saw him going to his left, to his right. He's got zero of an arm from the outfield, kind of like Brandon Nimmo, but Nimmo's a better fielder out there, gets better breaks on balls, reads on balls, but the New York Mets need to stop with the musical chairs. Right there is number one in run prevention. But let me know what you guys think down below. Who do you see the Mets getting? Are they going to go with this 1 year option? Once again, the Cedric Mullins, the Harrison Baders, the Tyron Taylors. I am so sick of that. How can you have the largest payroll in baseball and be playing with guys that are not major leaguers, in my opinion? But that's all I got for you guys. If you're hanging out right now, make sure you smash that like button, turn those notifications on so you never miss an upload, and we'll be bringing you all of the latest of the New York Mets content and news throughout the offseason. God bless. Let's go Mets.